Coming up next on a special edition of This Week in Torrance.
Join us as we look back at the most memorable stories of 2013. From groundbreakings to grand openings, CitiCABLE was there to capture it all.
From a first-hand look at the future of Delano Fashion Center.
To celebrations, milestone birthdays, and anniversaries like the annual Armed Forces Day Parade.
And Torrance welcomes a few new faces as they take on significant roles within the city, and we say goodbye to others who've made a lasting impact.
These stories and much more are just seconds away.
You're watching a special edition of This Week in Torrance.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Chun.
And I'm Ben McCain. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're looking back at the stories that made an impact on all of us this year. 2013 welcomed a number of new businesses, from groundbreakings to grand openings. Walmart's new grocery store opened its doors. Car enthusiasts were also excited to hear a Ferrari dealership is on its way. And of course, the much anticipated Nordstrom at Delano Fashion Center will open in 2015. But before the new tenant officially moves in, CitiCABLE's Hiba Samad got a first-hand look at the future expansion of one of America's largest malls.
I'm excited. I was just saying, there was a time when I would go home and say to my husband, gosh, the mall looks so bad.
For Torrance residents like Janet Payne, it's a long time coming.
I used to come here on a bus tour from an Air Force base because it was the hip mall to come to. And I'd like it to be that same great place again in the 21st century.
And now, thanks to Simon Properties, the first phase of renovations to the 2.3 million square foot Delano Fashion Center is set to be done by 2015.
I think we're just trying to create an experience in the center that matches the customer expectation in the market. It hasn't been renovated really since 1981.
While the remodeling plan is still in the beginning phases, one thing is clear, that Simon Properties wants to make sure your experience at the Delano Fashion Center is first class as soon as you arrive.
I think it's changing the appearance and the feel of the center from the minute you drive up to it and creating a green edge.
I like the idea of it being a more hip, inviting place to go.
Council members and Torrance residents watched as a new mall layout was revealed, which includes replacement of the current food court and renovating the north end where the former Robinson May and Sears are, and modernizing the interior.
We think creating a lot of natural light flooding in, but keeping it indoor is a perfect balance for that. It makes it feel a little warmer for the customers.
With grand skylights, natural plants, comfortable sitting areas with dark chocolate brown flooring, this will also be more convenient for shoppers to go to. The redevelopments will make it easier for shoppers to access the mall through a brand new 4-level parking structure.
During a busy period, say the holidays, a customer knows that they can go more than one or two places to park. They have many, many choices to go find quick, easy customer parking.
The redevelopments will include the addition of 60 to 80 new stores. While the names of these stores are still in talks, one department store expected to move in is Nordstrom.
The best part of it is they're bringing Nordstrom in. I know my wife and daughter are going to love that.
Along with the heightened experience is the hope that the $200 million renovations will also connect the Delano Promenade with other businesses on Fashion Way.
It is a huge opportunity for, if you can imagine, for our guests coming into market, coming into the hotel and having this caliber of shopping available to them.
Simon Properties plans to release more detailed plans in the coming months and are welcoming any ideas about stores shoppers would like to see in the new mall. For CitiCABLE, I'm Hiba Samad.
Thanks, Hiba. Another well-known name made Torrance its new zip code. Top-notch Children's Hospital Los Angeles opened their doors, and Brittany Bin was there for their grand opening.
Children's Hospital Los Angeles recently celebrated the opening of a new facility in Torrance. Even though Torrance is already home to 2 major hospitals, this new medical center offers families convenient access to an additional set of pediatric specialists.
It's ranked as one of the best children's hospitals in the United States. And what we're doing is we're putting our specialists into these communities and working with these hospitals in conjunction. So it basically supplements and complements the pediatricians that are working in the community.
The satellite office will offer a variety of care from the best experts in the country, all without patients leaving the South Bay.
We're going to have expertise here at the Torrance site of over 14 different physicians and 10 different disciplines from head to toe, from neurology all the way to orthopedics. And it's going to be some of the best experts in the country, and we're going to be able to project our expertise from Children's Hospital, which is ranked the best children's hospital on the West Coast, right here to the community in Torrance.
The South Bay Outpatient Center provides a variety of pediatric specialists in cardiology, pulmonology, and urology. With locations in Valencia and Arcadia, the Children's Hospital opened the Torrance office after seeing an increase of South Bay patients.
And we identified Torrance as one of the areas that has a lot of children, and because we've had a lot of patients come from Torrance to us, we thought it'd be good for the community for us to come to them.
The South Bay Outpatient Center plans to provide the same quality of nationally renowned care Children's Hospital Los Angeles is known for. For This Week in Torrance, I'm Brittany Bin.
Thanks, Brittany. In the spring, Mayor Frank Scotto looked to the future in the annual State of the City address, and as expected, the local economy was a major topic. Reporter Jacqueline Wang was there. Let's take a look back.
Community members from Torrance and around the South Bay area came together to hear Mayor Frank Scotto's State of the City address.
The city has continued to meet the challenges of these past 5 years through prioritizing how we spend our money to ensure core services remain intact. I want to thank the council for that too, by the way. I'm glad to say that we do see positive signs of recovery.
Unlike previous State of the City addresses that focused on the uncertain future, Mayor Scotto got to highlight some major achievements. Torrance's unemployment rate has dropped down to 5.5%, while the county is still at 11.6%. Taxable sales in retail generated $937.9 million, totaling to an 8.6% increase from 2011.
I'm hoping that today's attendees really take away that the City of Torrance is doing very well. We have brought in a number of new businesses. A lot of the smaller businesses are starting to network with one another and start to grow their business. There's a lot of hiring going on and just a lot of vibrant energy within our city.
Audience members were pleased and cheered when hearing that a new Maserati dealership will soon be calling Torrance home. The mayor also revealed some exciting news in our healthcare department.
For the second straight year, Providence Little Company Mary Medical Center in Torrance was named the nation's 100 top hospitals by Truant Health Analysts in this annual study aimed at improving the cost of quality of health care.
This was the mayor's 7th year addressing the business community at the annual luncheon hosted by the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce, and Scotto still hopes to continue to improve volunteerism within the community.
I've always voiced that importance of volunteerism in my State of the City address. Historically, I believe, has enabled us to keep our hometown feel. Residents volunteering just makes the quality of life here in Torrance a better place to live, and that's really what it's all about.
Even with a long agenda ahead of him, Mayor Scotto showed optimism for the upcoming year and is also proud of where Torrance is today. He credits all the success to the city's deep roots.
As I've mentioned in my address, a great deal of strength and resilience comes from our roots. When roots aren't severed, they can spread nutrients that help cultivate the areas and encourage the community to thrive. Our coastal community of Southern California has just done that.
Everyone who attended the event was able to walk away with a small packet of California poppy seeds, which Mayor Scotto hopes are scattered as a way of spreading Torrance's blossoming success with greater communities. For This Week in Torrance, I'm Jacqueline Wang.
Thanks, Jacqueline. The Torrance Armed Forces Day weekend festivities and parade is always a big hit in Torrance, drawing in thousands from neighboring communities to come watch and cheer on members of the armed forces. Torrance is one of only a few cities to host such an event year after year. Let's take a look at the event's highlights.
The Fern Elementary School Choir joined several community members in honoring our armed forces. And Major General Melvin Speece, who is this year's Grand Marshal, finds the outdoor exhibit to be especially important.
I think what's happening here in particular in the parking lot is the best. This is a chance for the residents of the South Bay to come and interact with those who wear the uniform of our country.
Attendees also got a chance to get up close and personal with the impressive equipment on display. Family members also came out to celebrate their loved ones, and Kimberly Martin, a wife of a Coast Guard, hopes her 2 kids take away from the event the importance of unity.
I think that that's an important value for our kids to learn, that no matter what separates us, that we're really in this together. And I think that's very important for them to honor and respect members of our services who provide so much to us.
The Armed Forces Day barbecue celebration was a small way for community members and volunteers to thank our active duty soldiers.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great that the community comes out and supports, and I think that it's nice for soldiers. Maybe they don't necessarily realize how much of the community support that they have, so to be able to be here and witness it, I think it's really wonderful.
While soldiers enjoyed their day off, the focus shifted to the new recruits, who got a little taste of what's in store for the months ahead.
Today we've got approximately 300 of future soldiers, young men and women that just recently enlisted in the Army. They'll be shipping off for basic training in the weeks ahead, and today we brought them out to get recognized.
Among the new recruits was 17-year-old Torrance resident Tommy Thompson, who is excited for his journey with the armed forces to begin.
I'm looking forward to coming home and wearing that uniform and letting everybody know that I serve the country.
Neighbors joined neighbors along Torrance Boulevard. Between the military tanks revving up the street and marching bands beating in unison, this sunny day could be no better.
We've been coming out here actually pretty religiously the last 8 years, but I've been coming here since I was a little kid.
But for 14-year-old Adam Wolf, this year's tradition was completely unordinary. A day he will remember forever. Through the U.S. Army Reserves and the Make-A-Wish Foundation, his hopes of joining the military was granted.
Today's special because I had no clue I was going to be sworn in. I just knew I was just coming. And I was like, there's so many people. I was like, wow, I loved it.
Along with Wolf, 500 young men and women were sworn in during the parade. It's moments like these that keep locals coming every year.
The job that they do for us, protecting our homeland, security, we need to come out and support these men and women every year.
Well, shocking news hovered over the Torrance Farmers Market over the summer as news broke of Mary Lou Weiss's passing. Deja Charles went out to the market that week to see how she was remembered.
Mary Lou Weiss is described by many as a fair and loyal woman. And to the farmers she worked with, they saw her as a dear friend and family.
To me, she's a friend. You know, we talked about a lot of things besides here at the market, you know, sports or what, you know, fishing and stuff like that. So she was just a dear friend to me after all these years.
As a farm girl raised in Ohio, Weiss was natural at the role of market manager for the Torrance Farmers Market. Those who began with her made it clear that it will be nearly impossible to replace this extremely valued jewel.
She's like family. I mean, you can't find anyone like her. Her and Jim, their whole family. I mean, they're awesome.
Therese Condon Yost, one of the founders of the market, says the goal was to provide the best local produce to the community while also being an advocate for local farmers. In Weiss, they found someone who could see the market's mission through.
The market manager had to love the farmers, had to really understand what it meant to be a farmer, what they had to go through, and the issues they had to deal, even to just get here to the market. Some of them travel here a great distance. So Mary Lou was the perfect person.
Along with the farmers market in Torrance, she also managed other locations in the South Bay, including the smaller market in Hermosa Beach, where she lived.
She did such a phenomenal job building this market into the successful program that it is today.
During this time of sudden loss, Weiss, or as many simply called her, Mary Lou, will be remembered for the fruits of her hard work and labor. For CitiCABLE, I'm Deja Charles.
Thanks, Deja. This summer also marked the 30th anniversary of an event welcomed by communities across the country as well as here in Torrance. This year, National Night Out also launched a new campaign from the Torrance Police Department. Chrissy Wilcox tells us more about it.
See something, say something. That's the name of the new campaign the Torrance Police Department started in order to help the community stay proactive in the fight against crime.
It gave us an opportunity to talk to the public and actually educate them about what is occurring crime-wise in the city of Torrance and around the Los Angeles County.
The campaign started in response to the AB 109 or Realignment Act, which allows low-level felons early release. The law complies with a court-ordered mandate that was put into place to relieve the overcrowded state prisons. So authorities say there's a good reason to step forward.
Yeah, there actually has been an increase in crime LA County-wide. The city of Torrance has had an increase, a very minimal increase.
That's why they've launched this new campaign asking you to keep an eye out. Residential and commercial buildings are primary targets. That's because the punishment on smaller offenses is minimal, which some say has essentially created a revolving door for criminals.
I just think that giving people early release is like giving them a slap in the back and just saying, hey, get out, you didn't really do it.
The department says almost 70% of crimes committed in Torrance are by offenders who live outside the community. An AB 109 task force is on the lookout since ex-inmates don't have supervision once released.
The Torrance Police Department is very active in looking out or trying to combat residential burglaries or commercial burglaries. But the way we're finding these people is by people identifying or seeing this and calling the Torrance Police Department.
Thanks, Christy. From safety to fun, Torrance employees checked their egos at the door when they signed up for a life-saving fundraiser where they put their best foot forward. Reporter Haley Skeen visits with participants as they rehearsed for this year's employee variety show.
Every year, a group of Torrance City employees dust off their dancing shoes and put on a variety show. Inspired by the cause, former City Councilwoman Hope Witkowski joined this unlikely group of entertainers over a decade ago.
I'm a cancer survivor. Many of the people on the third floor at City Hall when I was first elected died of cancer.
11 years later, the cause behind the annual variety show still holds special meaning for Witkowski.
Now, this year, my husband's fighting lung cancer.
Witkowski isn't alone in her proximity to the cause behind the event. City employee Leslie Cortez is also a cancer survivor, and she's channeling her strength to overcome a bit of stage fright.
Definitely for me, it's uncomfortable, but it's very meaningful and fulfilling.
Although the mission behind the show is serious, City employee Terry Ann Farron says it's also a lot of fun to be a part of.
It's been just something that I like to do, not only for the fundraiser, but for the camaraderie.
This is Cortez's 6th year performing in the show, and she says this year may be the most elaborate one yet.
A lot of the material has evolved as far as we're doing some dance movements, we're doing some costume changes. We kind of give little surprises to the audience. They never know what to expect.
Witkowski says adding pros to the mix helped transform the show from its roots as a talent show to a full production.
Like if somebody is going to a theater and they're seeing all of these entertainers on the stage at one time.
On top of working full-time, cast members have been rehearsing after hours to make sure the show is a hit. But for Witkowski, the true measure of the show's success lies in the cause behind it.
I am convinced that when we raise money to do this employee variety show, we are raising money to find that cure so nobody has to die from cancer.
For CitiCABLE, I'm Haley Skeen.
Thanks, Haley. Fundraising for a great cause is something all too familiar with one local cancer survivor. Faith Lee has this harrowing story about a woman's fight to survive.
Annette Bate has a lot of roles in her life. Sometimes she's a kickboxer. Sometimes she's a singer.
He's got a pink shirt on.
And of all her roles, being a mom is her favorite. A devoted mother of 2, Bate thought she was never going to see her kids grow up.
I turned my back to the nurse. I was like, this is some kind of conspiracy. There's no way I could have kids. We don't have cancer in our family.
But she turned out to have one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer, and she needed to start chemotherapy immediately.
It was 17 rounds of chemo and 2 surgeries.
It's really hard to explain, really, the feeling of that, because there's a chance that your parent's going to die.
While undergoing treatments, Bate lost all her hair and felt the worst she's ever felt.
Everybody tries to put on a brave face, and everybody fell apart. The house falls apart when mommy has cancer.
And that made her children begin to question why someone so good was suffering so bad.
Why is she suffering when she's such a good person? She's a great person.
And Bate figured out the answer. Cancer wasn't for the weak. It was for someone like her who could handle this magnitude of a fight.
My daughter likes to write, and I came across one of her writings, and it said, "Everything will seem like a lost memory, but not everyone catches it only the lucky ones get it. And you may not think that that person is very lucky, but when you get cancer, you get to fight. You get to fight until the devil is no longer with us.
And it was the strength she needed to be where she is today, cancer-free since February this year.
I think it's a privilege if you're diagnosed early. If you catch it early, then you can fight and you can win.
And she realized that breast cancer can happen to anyone at any age.
What's happening is that very young women are getting breast cancer before the age of mammogram.
She now spends a lot of time raising funds for cancer support, research, and awareness.
I think that the research should be in treating the cancers that are not curable, such as the triple negative, and more awareness for younger women to check themselves.
In the end, breast cancer didn't take away Bates' role as a mother, but added one more to the list, a fighter.
I count each day as a blessing, and I still have my boxing gloves on, and I'm still fighting every day.
For This Week in Torrance, I'm Faith Lee.
Thanks, Faith. After the Boston Marathon bombing, the lives of one Torrance family changed forever. John and Karen Odom spent 5 months in Boston before coming home to Torrance after John suffered major injuries, and the Odoms say it was the support from coast to coast that got them back home. Christy Wilcox captured their story.
Weathering the storm was the only vision Boston bombing survivor John Odom had in his forecast.
We talked before I came home, and they talked about, well, maybe we'll have to remodel your home because I live in a two-story house and you're going to go upstairs. And I said, no, we're not going to be remodeling the house. What we're going to do is we're going to adapt John Odom to those obstacles at home.
He works from home daily to improve his skills, a journey that Karen Odom, the wife of this fearless survivor, didn't know would ever be possible.
For me, coming home was like I had gone away for a few days and came home. Everything was the same. But I knew for him, it was going to be that final step of reality.
Odom spends 3 days a week at Evolution Sports Medicine in Torrance, learning how to tread the high tide.
What he has to start to practice is having those muscles in the leg that are functioning and in the trunk functioning to react quicker to help maintain his balance and stability so that he doesn't fall.
17 other victims became amputees, and originally doctors thought he'd be one too, but they saved his left leg, so now a severed sciatic nerve leaves Odom without feeling.
I'm up to where I can get a finger on each of the bars to hold on, okay, but no white knuckles. That's, you got to look at those, because at first, you're holding on like this, but hopefully we'll get up longer and longer.
And some believe that it's pure conviction that keeps this strong man forecasting his own future.
And I think in John's case, he sets himself apart from a typical patient because, of the trauma involved in his injury, and also the fact that it was a deliberate act that caused this injury. So, I mean, that takes a lot to come back from and to be confident in yourself once again.
Thanks, Christy. Torrance got a special treat this year with a torch that represents athletes from around the world. Deja Charles was there and told us more.
Kate McLaughlin found herself as the lucky patron running with the Special Olympics torch.
Carrying a torch, it was like so amazing, and I just never knew that carrying a torch on the sidewalk and in the street was kind of fun.
McLaughlin was joined by 28 fellow athletes and the Torrance Police Department during the Torch Run.
Actually, the Torch Run is a worldwide event. The Torrance police officers will be running with the Special Olympics torch as it will make its way to Long Beach for the Summer Games this upcoming weekend. They'll be also running with some of our athletes who will be competing in the games.
The directors of the program believes this is a chance for them to show the community just how hard these competitors have been working.
This is a chance for them to showcase all the time and effort and dedication and practice they've had over the last several months in a large event for special athletes and Special Olympics.
The games will begin in Long Beach, where thousands of other competitors are expected in attendance. For This Week in Torrance, I'm Deja Charles.
And that's going to do it for us on This Week in Torrance. We hope you've enjoyed our look back at 2013. I'm Ben McCain.
And I'm Chun. If you've missed any portion of our show, you can catch us again at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at CitiCABLE, have a safe and happy new year.